Jenkins and Mitch Stott has recently created enough friction to heat up the falling fall temperatures. By Memphis, it was undeclared war. And by Dallas,
just a little bit of revenge.
Just a little bit.
Welcome everyone to the AMS Staff Leasing Pro Modified Series. We're 30 miles south of Dallas in Ennis, Texas, for the O'Reilly Fall Nationals sanctioned by the NHRA. The autumn season has definitely been a key factor in this event. Although qualifying was held in typical Texas 80-degree heat, race day saw the mercury take a drastic 30-degree plunge. This means it's deprived all the drivers of their tune-up data. Could this leave some teams out in the cold?
It's going to be the mystery tour for me this trip. The combination that I finally got running pretty quick with these guys, I've never ran in this air, so I'm going to be rolling the dice. You want to take advantage of it, but you don't want to be so conservative that you kill yourself.
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know. This is where I've left this up to Jimmy and Ted to kind of program this thing to go down the racetrack.
We really don't know much about the car, but we know what it takes these atmospheric conditions. We made an actual transmission gear change, and you know, we're going to tone it down a little bit because the air's going to naturally tune it up, and I think we'll get down through there.
But it's not just the weather that's put a chill in the air. Brett Kepner has the details.
From just about any angle, the AMS Staff Leasing Pro Modified Series at the NHRA Powerade Tour is getting ugly. Now, if you've been following this season-long war, you know at the most recent NHRA Powerade Tour in Memphis, Tennessee, a rivalry surface that, well, isn't exactly clear, but certainly the effects were seen. Mitch Stott in the Radiac abrasive supercharged Corvette and Shannon Jenkins, the Iceman, with his nitrous oxide injected Camaro, have definitely been going at it, both on and off the racetrack. But the bottom line is that these two drivers appear to be the quickest and fastest of not only the nitrous and supercharged varieties, but of any other competitors on the AMS Tour, at least in the late season running. Now, here at Texas, things got really insane, especially considering the fact that in the first and second qualifying sessions, Mitch Stott and Shannon Jenkins staged up side by side in qualifying. First time up, it was a 6.26-second, 228-mile-per-hour blast for Stott alongside a 6:30 for Shannon Jenkins. Then in the second qualifying session, one of the great side-by-side battles ever in NHRA Powerade Pro Modified racing, even if it was a qualifying race. How about Mitch Stott 6:21 at 228 alongside a 6.23-second, 224-mile-per-hour blast for Shannon Jenkins. Now, keep in mind, there were several other cars in the 6.2-second zone. Bill Coolman made the program in the AMS Staff Leasing Corvette. Andy Nyers' Phoenix, Arizona Corvette produced some great runs. And 3 different nitrous oxide cars are in this field. But one thing needs to be brought up about the Stott versus Jenkins qualifying runs, and that's that in both cases, even though he was the slower elapsed time car, it was Shannon Jenkins who got the win light. I have a feeling I know what Mitch Stott's going to say about that.
Well, you know, Shannon, we kind of got this deal started throughout the course of this year, just simply due to the fact that I was his toughest competitor and he, you know, was mine. And he don't like to lose, and he expresses that when he does lose. And so I thought, well, now that we've got the knife in, why don't we just go ahead and twist it a little bit? So we decided to do that, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're twisting the knife a little bit. Shannon and I are still on a friendly basis, face-to-face. Behind his back, I really don't like him.
Well, in the interest of equal time, of course, we must indeed find out what Shannon Jenkins thinks of this.
I think it's more than anything publicity. Just try to get a little route for himself and his team, and evidently it worked. You know, he got a lot of noise over it, so I don't know. I think it's more about hype than anything else.
I hate to remind you, but at Memphis, you were the one who wanted to line up against Mitch badly.
Well, you know, he flipped it the last couple of times, and it's my fault because he did, but he did, and we just wanted to get back, and it was more about revenge than anything else.
Well, it certainly sets the stage here at Texas, but one important ingredient to this story has been left out. You see, qualifying was conducted under hot and humid, typical Texas fall conditions until race day, when something changed. Well, better put, everything changed. While the corrected elevation hovered around 3,000 feet during qualifying, it's now freezing here in Texas. Strong winds, cool temperatures of super high barometric pressure, and a corrected elevation of about 400 feet means that this guy has perfect conditions. But so does Shannon Jenkins. The first round may end this once and for all.
This coverage brought to you by AMS Staff Leasing, business solutions for the construction industry. And by ARP, manufacturer of aerospace quality fasteners. We'll be back with first round. Stay tuned. Back at the NHRA O'Reilly Fall Nationals, a part of the AMS Pro Mod Challenge. We're ready to go with round number 1 here at the Texas Motorplex. Ted Jones and Kenny Nowling on deck for you as Mike Ashley does his burnout in that beautiful 41 Willys. His opponent will be none other than Andy Nair from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Andy looking to get a little revenge at our last stop in Memphis. Ted, Andy Nair, red lighted against Mike Ashley in the first round. Mike Ashley debuting a new sponsor this weekend. Ironically enough, Dallas is their hometown, so Mike's got a lot of pressure bringing on Infinite Insurance and Financial Services. Richard Kirby, Doug Hasty, Chris Lane, all the guys. Slur Music, Tar Pit Records. Mike is debuting all his new sponsors this weekend and needs to put on a good showing, obviously.
Well, they'll stage up very carefully, and they're over there flying the American colors high, and then he takes it off for the racing. He doesn't want that drag right there when he goes down the quarter mile.
I have a feeling it wouldn't stay on very long. Andy's going to need to cut a light. He knows it.
Ashley with a 490 to a 510. He did not get that hole shot. Wow, look at that charge by Mike Ashley. 623, 224 beats out a 645, 212, and you could see it at about the 700-foot mark. Boy, he just made a move. Take a look at him in replay coming off the starting line. Ashley, quite a driving job. He went every which way but straight and still managed to get to the finish line first.
Now, refresh my memory. Did you not say that you were basically going a little conservative there?
Well, that was conservative, but you know my team? They got this Infinite Willys running right on time, baby. 623. I knew we had it in the car. I think we finally got our problems worked out there, Brett. We're going to be tough to contend with. You tell Shannon I'm coming.
A pair of Corvettes up next. The AMS-sponsored entry, a Bill 200-mile-per-hour Coolman from Wentzville, Missouri, will go against the guy that might be a hometown favorite out of Houston, Texas, Thomas Patterson, qualified number 4. And the starter right there putting his watch on Patterson, who's having problems.
Yeah, I was talking to Richard Patterson. They've got a little bit of a starter problem. They were trying to work it out down in the pits, thought they had it resolved. A lot of pressure on Bill Coolman this weekend. This is Dallas, Texas, of course. That is also AMS Staff Leasing's hometown. They've got hundreds upon hundreds of people here. Dave Wood and the group from AMS. So Bill's got a lot of pressure, and it looks like he's going to get a bye run here in the first round, Ted.
Indeed, Thomas Patterson is broken, will not be able to stage. So Mickey Shields, the crew chief, turns on the computer as Bill stages it up. Let's see if he goes for lane choice, Kenny.
Apparently he's going to be conservative and just get down through there, Ted. He's going to have a tough customer, whoever he faces next round, whether it's Mitch Stott or Billy Harper.
Amazingly, that runs a 991 at 100 miles per hour. Shows you the potential of these cars. I mean, he practically idled that thing through at 100 miles per hour. Coming up next, the Dodge Viper. Oh, yeah, we love this. Billy Harper from Paducah, Kentucky will take on the #1 qualifier, Mitch Stott.
Mitch Stott driving the Radiac Abrasives car for Dave Pryor. Ted Chavarria, Jimmy Rector, his entire crew, they have put a tune-up in this thing that obviously can run, especially in these weather conditions. I talked to Jimmy before this round. He said this car is going to go in the teens if it can stay stuck and glued to the service bed. Billy Harper, the first nitrous car we'll see go down the track today. It'll be interesting to see if he can get to the other end without any problems.
Harper with a 706 cubic inch Gene Fulton prepared engine, a Keith Black over in the Corvette, and we talked to Harper about the effect of this drastic temperature drop on his first round.
Yeah, our big question was what's the track going to hold, and we're just going to sort it out. Of course, we haven't raced much this year, so we're really stabbing in the dark, and we've got a great car to run against, but we're going to give it our best.
So they'll stage him up very carefully right there into the beams. You can see the cloud and overcast right there, and everybody wearing warm coats.
There's no doubt these conditions obviously favor Mitch and Team Radiac, but Billy Harper, Team Concrete, I think he'll be ready for him. He's going to have to cut one heck of a light if he's going to have a chance, though.
They bring the RPMs up. Good green light start, almost equal reaction time, and we've got a drag race on our hands. Oh, Mitch Stott pulled it out right in the lights with a 6:23, 227-mile-per-hour charge. And believe me, he knew he was in a race, and that was the number 8 qualifier. He was heavily favored. Uh-oh, looks like some smoke, probably engine damage as I see parts bouncing. Let's go to Brett.
A wind light's a wind light, but I know you don't like mushroom clouds either.
Man, that was pretty bad right there, Brett. Wind light is a wind light. We'll take it. I think I said we ran like a 23, which is great, but that was some serious vibration. It must have split the crank in 2 or 3 pieces in there, I reckon. Yeah, just keep it straight and get it slowed down.
Next up, this man, Ricky Smith, qualified number 7. He'll face the Iceman Shannon Jenkins. We talked to both of them about the weather's effect.
Well, you have to kind of go back to some of your old combinations in good air, because definitely going to take a different clutch deal. So I just hope, you know, we can make a better call than Shannon, because he's running a little better than we are. We just got to hope he makes a mistake.
We made some changes. Hopefully it's right. Maybe the track should be real similar. And, you know, really it's a guess. You know, it's the condition changed, and we hope we made the right ones.
Boy, what a great drag race this will be. The Iceman against Tricky Ricky, and they call him Tricky for a reason. The number 2 and 7 qualifiers, but don't let that fool you, Kenny.
2 of the best levers in drag racing, and Ricky is out of the gate. A 4:18 reaction time. He's got Shannon covered. Shannon with tire shaking problems.
Shannon just lifted and shut it down. 6:31, 222. Not the low ET for the first round, but hey, he goes into the semifinals where he'll be paired up against Mike Ashley. Bill Kuhlman will be facing Mitch Stott. We'll take a break. They're thrashing down in Mitch's pit area. We'll have second round when we continue from Ennis, Texas. Texas Motorplex. Now, when we went to break, they were thrashing down in Mitch Stott's pit area. Well, they're still doing it. Brett Kepner has the story.
We've heard so often since the National Hot Rod Association's new 75-minute turnaround rule between rounds made things, well, chaotic to say the least in the nitro pits, that the Pro Modified teams would never be able to comply. Well, Mitch Stott and the Radiac team are showing that they can work just as quickly as anybody else. As expected, the engine damage was terminal after his first round 6.23-second run resulted in several broken connecting rods in the original engine that qualified number 1. However, the bottom-end damage was confined to just that, below the manifold. Unfortunately, the team's new set of cylinder heads that were supposed to be ready for this event did not arrive. Therefore, they were forced to scavenge the heads off the 6.23-second first-round winner and put them on the new short block that they had waiting in the trailer. But the bad news is they don't have any idea how these heads will work on this short block. So the semifinal round is going to be a true crapshoot. But all the thrashing wasn't just happening in Mitch Stott's pit area. His opponent in the next round, Bill Kuhlman, surprised everybody in the opening stanza when he did not take advantage of a single-run effort to test the racing surface here on a completely different day of conditions. But Kuhlman's problem was not a basic decision. It was an electrical problem within the car that he is forced to find out. And that means Bill Kuhlman hasn't even been down the racetrack yet today. So in the semifinal round, Bill Kuhlman knew this one was going to be a battle of unknowns.
There's so little time between these rounds, so little time, that the blown cars have to run a 2-disc clutch. The nitrous cars run a 3. A nitrous car, in my opinion, can get by without doing as much maintenance on the clutch. So I said, man, I'm going to save this clutch and we'll be ready for another round. In other words, why go through a thrash when you don't have to?
So at this point, neither team really has an idea of what their vehicles are capable of in the semifinal round. The good news, the weather hasn't changed. It's still about 54 degrees and windy. The bad news, what does that mean?
All right, Brett Kepner, you've got that right. We'll keep to. We're going to leave a camera down there in Mitch Stott's pit area as we watch the next round right here. Coming up next, Mike Ashley and Ricky Smith.
Ricky Smith, the Lucas Oil Dodge Viper. Mike Ashley, the Infinite Willys. Mike was about 0.08 quicker in the first round, so Ricky knows he's going to have to leave on him if he's going to have a chance.
Once again, a nitrous-injected car against the blown car. Ashley with a 526 cubic inch displacement blown car. Wow, what a drag race we've got going here. Look at Ashley drive by him right in the lights. 6:23 beats out a 6:31. Smith actually left on him 4:39 to a 4:60. Meanwhile, they're still wrenching in Stott's pit area. Let's go to top here.
It's pretty bad when a 460 doesn't leave on Ricky Smith.
Oh, yeah.